Now Donald Trump is responding to the growing chorus of demands, releasing more details today on his own personal health. The whole episode giving political observers a proverbial case of whiplash. First, this was hailed. Trump would make the big reveal on the Dr. Oz show, which, by the way, taped this morning here in New York. Then just a couple hours ahead of when Trump was set to appear, the campaign actually said, no, there will be no disclosure of the physical that he underwent with his own personal doctor last week. But then Trump reversed course, presenting, according to the campaign, a one-page summary of his physical exam results to Dr. Oz. So what do the results show? Let's get straight to Kelly Platt, who happened to be in today's audience. She is a pharmacist intern who plans to vote for Trump. So Kelly, thanks for stopping by and welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
So how did it go? How healthy is Donald Trump?
I think the show went very well. I was very impressed with Donald Trump, impressed with his health report. The crowd was excited to see him there. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be there, to hear his speech, to hear his, I would say, his plans for everybody and plans for things that he wants to implement in the United States.
Okay, let's just stay on his health if we can, Kelly. And I understand he talked a little bit about in the past having higher cholesterol and that he wants to lose a little bit of weight. What do you recall from that piece of the conversation?
Well, I know he stated that he gave letters from his doctor that he isn't the epitome of health, and I believe him on that. And you can actually see it. He looks it. You can see he's a very healthy man, and Dr. Oz agreed with him after Dr. Oz even read the letters from his physician. And everybody can have the opportunity to lose a little weight, you know, is to just be healthier and lower your cholesterol. And that's one thing Donald Trump mentioned, was that his cholesterol was high at one time, and he was put on statins to lower his cholesterol, and he has zero health issues. He has no heart problems. He has and no other health issues, which is going to be harming him for his presidential run.
Did he talk, Kelly, at all? I mean, you talk about how he had the epitome of health. Did he talk about what he eats? Because I do know he's had a penchant for fast food on the trail.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Did he talk about what he eats?
He eats very healthy from what he said. Occasionally he might want to go for a quick hamburger. But that's, everybody has to go for a quick hamburger if they're hungry, if they go to a fast food place. So as long as you don't go to fast food places frequently, then everybody can be in the healthy food plan.
I know he's a busy man. I can't imagine the zigzagging ahead of November 8th. But does he exercise? Yeah. Did he talk about that at all?
He said he does not exercise, but just going to all these functions where he's meeting with 35,000 people, 45,000 people, and you're sitting there walking from everywhere, that's exercise. To me, that is exercise. So you may not be going to the gym and lifting weights, but going to the all these, I guess, political functions where he's constantly walking. Walking is very good, and walking is a part of the exercise regimen.
Did he say anything that surprised you, or did you have a favorite moment?
I know he likes to play golf, but he hasn't had time to play a lot of golf. Being on the presidential run and the campaign trail, there's not a lot of time for extracurricular activities where he can actually go play golf. But I know he mentioned that he can actually play golf with the PGA players, and I believe he's telling the truth on that.
He said, he remarked, he is so good at golf, he could do the PGA Tour. Kelly Platt, you got you had quite the experience today. Thank you so much for sharing it. Fast food and Dr. Oz, welcome to the 2016 presidential race.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's talk bigger picture here. Joining me, Dr. Devi Napier-Rampal, who is an assistant professor at New York University School of Medicine. Mark Preston is our CNN political editor, and Drew Griffin, CNN senior investigative correspondent. So, hello to all of you. First, you as the doctor, as the MD on the set. My question is, listening to Kelly and hearing specifically, apparently Trump said he wanted to lose 15 to 20 pounds. She said epitome of health. Again, total transparency, you've never examined Mr. Trump.
Sure.
Quick assessment.
Well, in general, so for somebody who's that age, who's had high cholesterol in the past, who likes fast food, you'd screen for heart disease to make sure that cardiovascularly this person is okay, especially if they're not exercising as much. Now, of course, he doesn't have a sedentary lifestyle.
She says he speaks to 45,000 person crowds, and that's exercise. Your assessment is?
Well, walking a lot is. I mean, we do have concerns about people having a sedentary lifestyle where they're always sitting down. But I will say, you know, there is no standard sort of history and physical exam. There's sort of 3 different ways that doctors approach it. I mean, first they look at the symptoms that people are reporting. So for him, you know, the focus would be a little bit more on his cardiovascular health. But then also people do general sort of screening tests. So for example, if somebody has absolutely no symptoms, what kind of tests would you do in that person? And then of course there's a third type of test where you might say a pre-op clearance or a clearance test. So can you withstand the stress of surgery or perhaps the stress of presidency, and then do maybe more intensive tests based on that.
So we don't know specifically whether he was told to hop on a treadmill, you know, obviously blood tests, that kind of thing. We don't have that. Drew Griffin, you look at me and you laugh.
You laugh.
You chased down, it's Dr. is it Brownstein?
Bornstein.
Dr.
Harold Bornstein.
Dr. Harold Bornstein recently, who is Mr. Trump's doctor, who gave him this assessment. So let me just first play a piece of your interview just recently.
You fully, whatever you wrote in that letter, you fully believe Mr. Trump is capable of being president physically?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it.
Why did you write that letter? Was it a joke? The words you chose, the way you wrote it?
I was just rushed for time. I had people to see.
Tell me more about his background in that conversation.
Well, he graduated from Tufts University. He took over the practice from his father, who's a Harvard medical grad. He's been on the Upper East Side 30 years. He's been Trump's doctor for as long. They met apparently in Jamaica, Queens, through his mother, the doctor's mother, brought the Trumps in as clients. So they have been Trump's physician for quite a long time, and he probably has a long, long history of knowing what Trump's ailments are. At question at the time was that very terse little verbose language that he wrote in his one-page summary. The guy is not your standard doctor. I mean, that's not Marcus Welby there. He's a little different, but I don't think that says anything about the value of his treatment for Donald Trump. Clearly, Donald Trump seems to be a healthy man, and this doctor says, look, I've examined the guy for decades. He's healthy.
Do you know if we'll be getting more from him publicly this week?
You know, after that interview, I guess you would call it, his wife broke it up. There's a lot of tense situations going on, and the wife clearly doesn't like the attention she's getting. But I called him, I wrote him a letter, and he called me back, and he said, listen, call me anytime if you have any questions. If I don't have to violate, you know, patient confidentiality,
sure,
I will talk to you.
Sure.
Well, when I heard out Donald Trump was having another physical, I of course picked up the phone and called him, and his office says, call the campaign, we're not talking to you anymore. So that's how it ended.
Okay. For the political piece of all of this, first of all, 20,000-foot view, it's Donald Trump on Dr. Oz, and this is the big reveal.
Right, not surprising.
Not
surprising given the nature of the campaign. Wholly inadequate given that we're talking about the next commander-in-chief, but wholly inadequate, quite frankly, for Hillary Clinton as well, that they have been now forced to reveal more information. We'll see what that is. Look, I think this is an issue that we will talk about for a couple of days. Clearly what we've seen from this one page, or we've been told, there doesn't seem to be any glaring red flares, but I do think this is an issue that's probably going to go away or will not have a major impact on the campaign, specifically on the Donald Trump side.
You do think it'll go away?
I just think there are bigger issues. There are bigger issues that people are going to address. The taxes that Donald Trump hasn't released, his whole company and the business relationships, as we've seen from Newsweek, and the entanglement that he has overseas. So it does fit into a bigger narrative, though, of both candidates, quite frankly, not being as honest and trustworthy or as open about important issues.
Also, just quickly before I want to come to you, you know, when you think of daytime TV, huge female viewership, so that can't be a mistake that he's thinking voters, women, November 8th.
Right, and look, only go back through the Obama administration for a White House that really perfected reaching out to alternative media, so to speak, the Entertainment Tonights and what have you, to get their message across. So this isn't something new that he would decide to go on to, you know, a quote-unquote talk show to do this. We've seen this through entertainment television. Quite frankly, the Obamas have done a really fantastic job spreading their message beyond us.
Did you want to jump in?
Absolutely agree. It goes away unless he stumbles or unless somebody digs up some episode in the past where there's a medical issue. but we haven't found any yet.
What's your big, on both of these candidates, by the way, because as you mentioned, we are supposed to get more on Hillary Clinton's medical history, how detailed, how far back, we don't know. As an MD, what's your biggest question?
I think it's fair for viewers to ask, or for voters to ask, you know, what is going on with their health? If you go for a regular job, you have to take a pre-employment physical. I'm not saying that all their medical records should be released, but it's fair to see if they can do an adequate job at the presidency.
Okay. All right, Dr. Devi, Mark, and Drew, thank you all so much.